We have a little process in fleet services, and it's called the vehicle request process. So basically, we have our campus colleagues go through this process to justify the need for a new vehicle. So before I go into the process, I'd like to discuss why we have this process, or as those who have gone through it, say, why are you putting us through this painful, difficult effort to just get a new vehicle? Why are you making it so difficult for us? So anyways, so basically, UC has a goal to be carbon neutral by the year 2025. And it's referred to as UC's Carbon Neutrality Initiative. So the vehicle request process is used as a method to help fleet services to do our part to reduce UC San Diego's vehicle carbon emission footprint. So although the UC fleets represent a very small percentage of UC's overall carbon emissions, they're one of the most visible to the public. So this is not a UCSD bus, by the way. Even though it's blue and white, it is not one of our buses. But we definitely, I mean, if you saw something like this on campus, obviously you'd probably think, oh, yeah, that looks really bad, right? So we try to avoid that. So we have this process in place, and the primary tool is the Department Vehicle Request Form. So it was implemented over 10 years ago as an RMP supported process. It's changed a few times over the years. The goalposts have moved, and it has caused a lot of frustration with our campus colleagues because as the goalposts move, they don't understand what they need to do and when they need to do it. But this form, I'm not going to go through it extensively, but just know that the purpose of it is to establish a dialogue between us and the campus colleague who wants to purchase a vehicle. So the challenges of it, enforcement, it's people request a vehicle or they try to buy a vehicle, and if we don't know it, we then intervene and they're confused and say, well, I didn't know about this process and it wasn't fail-safe, and there are a lot of holes in the bucket, if you would. Some of them we would catch and some of them we wouldn't. And procurement, because they set eyes on everything, they were kind of the ones that were acting as the gatekeeper, even though it's our process. So what follows here is just an example of a dialogue that would take place between fleet and procurement. And my colleague Dennis is here. He's a voice, one of the voices, and Jagan, who's one of our admin assistants, she's the other voice. So you can read along.
Hi, fleet. This is procurement. We have a vehicle being requested.
Thanks. From who?
King Triton.
Can you wait while I research that?
Okay, but please hurry. We don't like requests in queue for too long.
Got it. We don't see anything from King Triton.
Sorry, King Triton, but Fleet doesn't have a vehicle request form from you. Hey, Fleet. King Triton says the request form was completed.
Oh, yes. Sorry, we located it. We'll let you know if and when it's approved.
Sorry, King Triton. They found it. Please hold tight for an approval.
Okay, so I know that sounded like gastrointestinal distress there, but fortunately, I have a trained ear. I speak Tritonese, and that was King Triton basically saying, I completed the form, and what's going on? So that's just one example of a dialogue with procurement, and it became a very frustrating experience for them and for us, and our colleagues, of course. So there are multiple pain points in this process. Vehicle request forms are being unaccounted for. They're getting lost, sometimes in our office, sometimes at the vice chancellor's level, which, of course, we remind them nicely, right? And say, oh, by the way, do you guys find this? Can you look for it? Oh, yeah, we found it. So since IPPS, Integrated Procure-to-Pay Solutions, procurement sets eyes on all the vehicles being procured, they were basically the primary hub of communications where they would have to convey the process to our colleagues. And the colleagues are like, if we had said, we don't know about it, and then the colleagues are like, what? I didn't know. And then it's procurement folks spending their time and resources to educate our campus colleagues, and really that's not their job, it's our job. Sometimes they would, refer them back to us, which is we're the appropriate ones who should be talking to our colleagues, and we would educate them, and it's just, it wasn't a good process. It's not ideal. So So about a year ago, I was approached by Elliot Escobedo, one of our colleagues here on campus, and was given the opportunity to participate in Process Palooza as a process owner. And basically, he's trying to say that there are a lot of unhappy people on campus, and you guys, your process really has room for improvement. So, of course, I was a little hesitant at first because nobody likes to have their inefficient processes exposed, as we talked about earlier here in this discussion. But, I felt it was important to look at it with an open mind. In order to take one step, you got to take one step back to take two steps forward, right? So, we 3 lean teams analyzed our vehicle request process. They presented some key takeaways, and I'm happy to say that all the teams provided useful ideas and suggestions, and many have been implemented. So, these are the key takeaways: that our approval process takes way too long, and people don't understand why it needs to be done or how it should be done. Vehicle guidance is lacking. We try to refer people to procure either a hybrid or an alternative fuel vehicle, and a lot of people have no idea or no clue as to what those vehicles are, so that was not readily available to them. The information wasn't easy to find, so we had a lot of opportunities as a department to grow by going through the Process Palooza process and having the lean teams take a look at it. So there are many suggestions that were provided, and this is kind of the eureka or aha one. That this one here up here was the one that it's like, wow, it's so like simple and elementary, but so important. So basically, it was suggested that we have be included in the request process as a first level approval step. So by routing to us first, we were able to take a look and realize whether or not the vehicle has been properly requested and we approved it, or if we haven't set eyes on it yet. And at that point, we talk to our campus colleague and the person who requested the vehicle and educate them and lead them through the process. So the other thing we've done is we've better educated our campus community on the process. We spelled it out through a link on our Blink homepage. Those who've been on campus for a while know that there used to be things on the bottom that would say it's an easy to remember web link. It's artsandhumanities.ucsd.edu / fall and winter festival / green and purple / So we've simplified that. It's just fleet.ucsd.edu. Another thing we've done to better educate our campus colleagues is we have a list now on our Blink homepage, and it lists the vehicles that are best in class, so that can be referred to easily. And we also have the narrative now that we explain why we're doing this. I mean, we're a service department, and we want to be customer centric. So the fact that vehicles are our business, right? But the reality is that we're playing an important role to reduce UC's carbon footprint. So we need to try to reduce the size of our fleet in addition to making sure that any new vehicles we procure are green, quote unquote, right? So for those who are more visually inclined, there's actually a process flow chart, and that's available for anyone who's interested in seeing a process flow chart as to how a vehicle gets approved and the process. And then we've also, this last month was on the Blink homepage, and basically a teaser. It was up for about 2 weeks last month. So there are, other suggestions that were provided by the lean teams that either we're still taking a look at to implement, or we've, decided to maybe it's a future process improvement opportunity. So one is to make this competitive, which I think is a good idea. It would basically entail peer pressure, where every department or vice chancellor area would have the percentage of green vehicles listed. We've talked to the sustainability office, and they haven't engaged with us yet. Maybe they're smart enough to know that this is too politically incorrect to do. I don't know. So draft and post a survey is another thing that was suggested to us. And we see this as being, a potentially valuable tool. We just still need to draft the survey. The reality is that most of our colleagues on campus who procure vehicles are aware of the process now. We've standardized it. as of, well, let's see, last August, the Chancellor actually approved a PPM which gave Fleet Services, the fleet manager, the approval authority for all vehicles on campus, with the exception of those that are classified as live, fire, or safety. So with that in place, it gave us teeth to enforce this process. We've simplified the process, whereas everybody basically needs to submit the vehicle request form. In the past, like I said, the goalpost would change. You can fill it out if you're buying a vehicle, but you don't need to if you're going to lease one, and that kind of thing. So we've simplified that to where just everybody needs to go through the process. So this is the last one here is something that we've thought long and hard on. Looked into DocuSign, perhaps Google Drive is a solution, but to migrate the form to an electronic version. But I actually feel that making it a little bit more of a challenge will separate people who simply want a vehicle to get them from point A to point B, 750 yards, and they don't want to walk it, so they, let's get a cart for that, compared to those who absolutely need a vehicle for operational necessity purposes, right? There's true operational need. So I'll use the analogy that, I know I'll date myself here, but in the past when there was a product, say, for $4.99, but it's only $1.99 if you submit the $3 rebate, right? And you think, oh, great, it's $1.99, so you buy it, and then you start reading the terms of the rebate, and it's like, okay, submit the original receipt on a 3.5 by 5 inch index card, put it in a number 10 envelope, make sure it's all block letters when you complete the form in Arial font. And it's just like you start thinking, is it really worth $3 for me to go through all this hassle? And it's like, yeah, maybe not. So anyways, the fact that we still have it as a paper, in paper form, there might be a little bit of benefit to that for us. So, and you'll see based on the results so far. So approval time for most vehicle requests is now about 3 business days or less. The vehicles that aren't approved can still take about 3 weeks. And I say that because we give the Vice Chancellor's office a little bit of time in case Mr. Matthews is on vacation or Mr. Jackson's on vacation. We build that in. So in the past, it was taking 1.5 to 3 weeks, if not longer. So the average number of new vehicles that have been procured by UC San Diego in each of the last 4 years has been roughly 107. So as of October 1st of this year, we are at 37. So if you basically extrapolate that, we're on pace to procure about 49 vehicles this year, and that equates to a reduction of over 50%. So this equates to a capital cost savings for the university of, so about 1.7 million. And that's, basically we take a look at the number of vehicles that we haven't procured this year compared to each of the last 4 years combined. Each of the last 4 years individually, the average, and it's 58. And the average cost of a vehicle so far this year is about $30,000. So this is a cost avoidance. We do, take in consideration that older vehicles do cost a little bit more to maintain. So that's why I figure at the end of the day, it's about 1.7 million. And my wife, who I shared this whole presentation with last night, who happens to be a Lean Six Sigma black belt from UCSD, said, oh, that's great, but there's cost avoidance and cost savings and stuff that all the Lean folks know. So this doesn't include any of the time that's saved. I mean, when you take a look at the process from, the person requesting it, Fleet Services to analyze it, procurement to do their due diligence. I mean, it's easily 6 hours involved, and you multiply that by 58 vehicles that have been reduced this year, and you can, do the cost of the savings in the fact that the human resource part of it has been saved. And also just the whole process itself takes less time now. So in summary, we were provided a unique opportunity by participating in Process Palooza to have our process taken a look at from an external point of view as opposed to what we see internally. The suggestions implemented have reduced our turnaround time and greatly improved the communication of the process. Much better control in place as far as due diligence is concerned. And, responsibilities are properly aligned. We don't have people in procurement spending their time talking to someone, trying to explain everything, and then, and the back and forth communication between fleet services and procurement. I mean, they've been a great partner in helping us to enforce this. And, it just wasn't appropriate that they were being the bad guy, if you will, quote unquote, since it's our process. So, of course, there's effectiveness in helping us to achieve cost control as well. So, they say it takes a village, and without each of these areas on campus who have basically we've relied on to make this possible, we wouldn't be at where we are today. But most importantly, it takes each of you. So, all right. And that's all. Thank you.